Hi guys, we're on our last day of slope. So we have one more method that we need to learn about how to find slope, and that is how to find slope given two ordered pairs. When you need to find slope given two ordered pairs, there's a formula that you want to memorize. Honestly, this is the most important formula that we are going to learn for this chapter. Is the slope formula. So you definitely want to memorize this. And the formula is m equals, remember m stands for slope, and then it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Notice that the y's are on the top and the x's are on the bottom. Also notice that the y2 is first and the x2 is first, and that the y1 is second and the x1 is second. Having those lined up, stacked on top of each other is really, really important. And then it is also important that your y's are on top and the x's are on the bottom, since it's rise over run. Okay, so we have one example already on the board. It says find the slope of -1, 4 and 5, 6. So you could, if you wanted to, graph those on a coordinate plane and count. But let's practice using this formula. When using the formula, it's important that you're plugging the numbers into the right place. So one thing that I like to do before I get started is I like to label my ordered pairs with x1, y1, and x2, y2. It doesn't matter which ordered pair you say is 1 or 2, as long as you're staying consistent. So if this is an x1, that has to be a y1. And if this is x2, that has to be y2. You can't mix and match the ones and the twos. You do always have to make the first number x and the second number y because it's alphabetical order, and that's how ordered pairs work. Let's plug these numbers in. So y2 minus y1 will be 6 minus 4 on top. And x2 minus x1 will be 5 minus a -1 on the bottom. Notice that I have a subtraction sign and I have the negative sign from the 1. You do need to write both of those. When you're subtracting a negative, you can change it into adding a positive. And our next step will be to simplify the top and bottom. So 6 minus 4 is 2, and 5 plus 1 is 6. Before we box this as our final answer, we should simplify it. Anytime you can simplify your slope, you definitely want to simplify it. If it simplifies to a whole number, you can write it as a whole number, or you can write it as a number over 1. Having your slope written as a fraction is always helpful. This problem can simplify. I can divide the top and bottom both by 2. And so my final answer for this question is 1 over 3. Remember, slope is telling you the rise and the run of the line. So this is telling me that I have a line that rises 1 and runs 3. Up 1, right 3. I'd like you to practice some of these on your own. So if you could pause the video right now, there are 4 problems on the screen, and go ahead and work your way through all 4 problems. Once you're done with all 4 problems, you can restart the video to check your answers. I hope that you paused the video and found the answers on your own before coming back. If you didn't, go do that now. But I'm going to go ahead and start going over the answers with you. For the first problem, 3, 5 and 4, 2, I got a slope of -3 over 1. Now, you can write the negative either with the top number, so -3 over +1. That would mean that we're going to rise down 3 and run to the right 1. Or you can write the negative with the bottom number. That would mean you're going to rise up 3 and go to the left 1. You do need to assign the negative symbol to one of the two numbers, either the top number or the bottom number. Do not float the negative symbol in front of the fraction. That will create problems down the road. So get into the habit of always assigning the negative sign to one of the numbers. For question 2, my final answer is undefined slope. We talked about this during our live session today. For question 2, I got the fraction 13 over 0. And in our live session today, we said if you get a 0 underneath the fraction bar, that problem has an undefined slope. It does not have a slope. The slope does not exist. If you have trouble remembering that, you can always use a calculator. So in your calculator, you want to type it in the order that it's written in. So 13 divided by 0. Make sure you do the top number divided by the bottom number. And my calculator says divide by 0 error. I don't know if you guys can see that. Divide by 0 error. So if your calculator gives you an error sign, that's when you write undefined slope. Undefined slope, again, is a vertical line, and it will always happen if your x numbers are the same. For number 3, I got a fraction that I had to simplify. So my fraction for number 3 was 4 over 6, and it was negative, but I did simplify it to negative 2 over 3. So again, you can make it a negative 2 over positive 3. Or if you prefer, you can do a positive 2 over negative 3. But just make sure that that negative sign is attached to one of the two numbers. Again, 4 over 6 is not an appropriate answer. You do need to simplify. For the last question, my final answer was a slope of 0, 0 slope. You could also just write the number 0 if you want to for this question. You cannot write the number 0 for problem 2, but you can write the number 0 for problem 4. On problem 4, when I was solving it, I got 0 over 9. And if you're unsure of what that equals, again, your handy dandy calculator can help you out. So you just got to make sure you're typing it in the right order. 0 divided by 9 equals, and you can see maybe, there we go, 0 divided by 9, and it tells me the number 0. So my calculator knows that this has an answer of 0. This is how you find slope using ordered pairs. I do want to see work on these problems. So on your textbook assignments, make sure you're showing work. And when you're doing tonight's section of Delta Math, you want to have your whiteboard or some scratch paper handy, and you want to be doing your work on your whiteboard or on your scratch paper. This is the end of our new notes. Now, I did say during class today that I would repost the special cases for our slopes. And so if you need those again, I'm going to put them up on this video, and then you can just pause the video if you need to write anything down. So these were what we went over in class today. So we have a positive slope, which can have 2 positive numbers or 2 negatives. A double negative cancels to a positive, and a positive slope rises up. We have our negative slope, which just needs one of the numbers to be negative, either the top or the bottom. We literally just talked about that, and that one falls down. We have a horizontal line, which has a 0 slope. That's when the 0 is on top. And we have a vertical line that has an undefined slope. That's when the 0 is on the bottom. So again, if you weren't able to copy down all the notes from today, you can copy them down right now from this video. Just pause it and then get started on your homework.